Hey guys, today on JD Cars, we'll be replacing the radiator on the BMW E90. So you only really need minimal tools for this. Tools you'll need for this repair are a large flathead screwdriver, a smaller flathead screwdriver, preferably a small 1/4 inch ratchet, a T20 Torx bit, a T25 Torx bit, and a 2-inch extension for your 1/4 inch ratchet. I also recommend a small shop light to help you see what you're doing when you're working on removing the radiator. Yesterday I had a startling coolant leak which was completely unexpected, and I traced it back to the radiator, which we will now be replacing. Before you can remove the radiator, you have to remove the radiator fan. I made a separate video about this in the interest of time. If you want to check that out, it's linked right here. While I do have the car up on jack stands, it's not necessary. I simply did so I can fully illustrate the process. First thing we need to do is release the radiator hose from the oil pump. To do so, take a flathead screwdriver, pry the clip out. It'll stop in the open position here. Once you've released that clip, we need to release the same style clip on the other end of the hose here by prying up. Now we're going to remove the hose from the oil filter housing here. You may need the assistance of a flathead screwdriver. Careful not to lose your O-rings like I just did there. You want to inspect your O-rings and the hoses for any dry rot and cracking. If any is apparent, you want to replace them. Once you get this disconnected, you can tuck the hose out of the way here. Now at the driver's right side of the radiator, if your vehicle is equipped with one, it'll have a sensor right here on this fitting. Simply press the tab and disconnect it. Next, we'll use a flathead to release the same style retaining clip as before to disconnect this hose. After you disconnect this hose, we need to remove 2 T25 Torx screws. You can see one hidden just barely back there, and there's another one on the opposite side of the radiator. To remove the radiator, push it towards the engine, and because of the airbox, I find it easier to go out the bottom of the car, but if you don't have it up on jack stands, it can be lifted up and out of the engine bay. And there you have your old radiator. Anyways guys, that's all I have time for tonight. However, I do have some good news. I just tracked my new radiator here. I had it shipped UPS next day air. Package was processed for shipment a couple hours ago, so I should receive it in time to install it tomorrow. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. Okay, 24 hours later and we received the radiator right on time. Pull this sucker out of the box and check it out. Very minimal packaging here. Hopefully it's not damaged. It does look to be the right radiator, but I would have appreciated a bit more packaging. The radiator looks and feels to be good quality. It looks almost identical to the factory one, with the exception of a different drain plug. I knew with the limited packaging something would be damaged. The mounting tab with the hole to secure the radiator broke off here, as you can see. I'm gonna try to take this tab from the old one. I'm gonna attempt to plastic weld it onto the new one. That actually went surprisingly well. I broke off the tab from the old one, heated it up so it was flaming hot, and then I held it up to the new radiator, very close to it, and melted the two pieces together. And it's surprisingly strong. You can now carefully lower the new radiator into the engine compartment. I actually switched over my method. I just put the radiator in from underneath the car. I found it a bit easier than going in the top. Got the radiator properly secured here. You can tell by pushing on it. It should not slip out of the supports. Now that the radiator is installed, we're going to reinstall the 2 T25 Torx screws on either side of the radiator. Once your radiator is nice and secure, you'll want to clean all of the fittings before reinstalling your hoses. Then you can reinstall your hoses, making sure the locking clip is in the unlocked position, then sliding the hose on, and then pressing the locking clip to secure it in place. Repeat the same process on the other end of the hose here and to the other hose on the right side of the radiator. If your vehicle is equipped with one, plug in the temperature sensor here, and your new radiator is now installed. However, we still do need to install the radiator cooling fan, and we need to fill the system with new coolant and bleed the system. Right now I'm going to reinstall the cooling fan. As I stated before, I have a separate video on how to replace the cooling fan. If you want to check it out, you can view it here. You can see how to reinstall the cooling fan in that video. Before I reinstall these splash guards, I'm going to fill the expansion tank up with Xerox G48 formula. As you can see, it's automaker approved for BMW. Don't forget to loosen up your bleeder screw. I just put in a gallon of the Xerox because that's concentrate. I'm now filling it up with distilled water. The system takes about 8.2 liters, which is just a little more than 2 gallons. Filled it up to the very top here. Now I'm going to tighten down the bleeder screw and reinstall the cap. There's still residual air in the system that we need to bleed out. Process for this is pretty simple. We're just going to put the key in the ignition and we're going to press the ignition without starting the car. Going to give it ignition power, turn the heat up to full, turn off your AC, and leave it on low fan setting. Now press the accelerator to the floor for 10 seconds. This initiates the bleeding process, which you can hear taking place. This is a good time to check all of our hoses for any possible leaks. This process takes about 12 minutes to complete. When the bleeding process is complete, remove the fill cap and check the level of the coolant. Add coolant if necessary, and then run the car at idle to inspect for any leaks. After letting your car idle, check the coolant level and top it off if necessary. Hope you guys found this video helpful. Please leave a like below and subscribe if you've yet to do so. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time on JD Cars.